You ever think about quitting?
It's the combat of life hammering the snot out of you.
Well, stand by, dig in deep, and get ready to get fired up with us.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast, the #1 podcast that inspires you to fight on. I'm your host, David Rutherford, here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell.
Our mission is to help you embrace the suck of life, to teach you the values of working your ass off, and to interview the most hard-charging people on planet Earth.
We know life is hard. It's time for you to suck it up, Buttercup, and let us teach you to persevere in every environment imaginable by sharing real-world lessons learned by those who never quit. That's right. It's time, Marcus, for us to help them defeat the negative insurgency in their lives.
You fire me up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Marcus! I gotta tell you what, man. It's happening again. It's happening again. My pulse rate's probably at like 140 right now. My digestion is moving around in a whole nother kind of way. I got this thing going on in my brain where I'm like, my God, we're about ready to talk about some superhuman feats of accomplishment. I mean, this is going to put the Team Never Quit, the Never Quit mindset on a whole nother plane of existence. Do you hear me right now?
Well, he's one of our own, too. I mean, you get fired up about hanging out with each other. And, I mean, he is one of our ambassadors. I tell you what, if you had to hang the picture up on the T&Q of who our ambassadors are, but who's the kind of that takes it the furthest, it's got to be.
Well, it's
David,
him.
Hands down, right?
It's him. I think it is. Listen, if you're just showing up and you're listening to the TNQ podcast, well, welcome back first and foremost. We love the fact that you support our mission, which is to ignite the fire in human beings, right? To light that fire in the gut so they will go out and experience their never quit attitude, never quit mindset, never quit story themselves, man. I mean, that's what we do, brother.
Yep.
I mean, that's our job. That's our new mission in life, right? We're putting away all the other stuff we've done. We're going down this new road to really reach out to people around the world to inspire you. Now, if this is your first time listening to the Team Never Quit podcast, man, are you in for a treat? Because I'll tell you what, Marcus.
I like telling the way. A lot of people think that what we did for a living was exceptional. It takes a certain type of human being to get that done. We're about to tell you what that is.
Literally.
Right. And it's not. It's just ordinary people doing extraordinary situations. That's all that ever is.
The human condition, man. It's what unites us. But you're right, man. There is ordinary people who do some incredibly extraordinary things. And I think we're about ready to have one of them on the show. But, just like on every TNQ podcast that we do, we have a method to our madness, don't we?
Right.
So that method is we start the show out with some killer, awesome person in history or group of people or an event or something like that truly exemplifies the TNQ mindset, right? I mean, the never quit mindset. I mean, because as you always talk about, man,
you're right. If we're trying to give an example of what we're talking about in human form, we're doing that. We're about to do that.
Oh, in big time.
Yeah.
We got a doozy for him today, don't we?
Right.
Then we go from that amazing thing to bringing our special guests on. And we've had some incredible guests, man, out there. Really some amazing human beings on the show. This is a person that from our tribe. He's a TNQ. He's a Team Never Quit speaker, but he's also a teammate of ours and all around pretty amazing human being. So I'm really looking forward to David coming on the show. Now, and then once we finish the interview, just so you know, there's always a component of how-to that you need to know in your life with that never quit mindset. So you can find there's an after actions report that you'll be able to find on the website at tnqpodcast.com. Now go there, listen to the after action, because that's the how-to, right? That's the peek behind the.
Sure. I mean, we're trying to tell you that we're bringing magnificent people on here and giving their examples of some of their hardest times and how they got through it, and just peeking behind that dark curtain, we like to say, and seeing what that is. And that's how we connect it. We may have somebody on here that you've never even heard of, And just by what they've been through and what they said and how they described how they got through it, it may not affect you. That may not be
your never quit story.
It may not apply to you. It might be something in there, but then the next person, maybe you didn't have any idea who they were, but they said something or they were in a situation that pulled them through that actually flickers that thing in your head that goes, yep, all right, got it.
That click, right?
Right.
That thing that ignites that fire, the thing that makes your blood burn,
and even if it's not one of those straight up, oh, that made complete sense, it's just that ability to say, you know what? I completely don't understand where he's coming from on that, but I'm going to try it anyways. And those are the craziest ones, right? Those are the ones that take you down somewhere where you're like, you know what? I'm so glad I made this jump because look what I'm doing right. I'm in space on a spaceship. I'm an astronaut. It's that one guy who took that one chance, right? Became an astronaut. He became a billionaire, and they just had no idea why they did it. Because there's some of those people we bring on here. They're like, man, it was just something inside of me. Maybe there's something you can't put your finger on. Maybe there's not a way to describe the fire that burns inside of you, man. But we bring enough people on here and give you so many unique perspectives on how to look at something that if that part of it's not there, we're going to give you a lot of instructions on how to
start it.
Start it, right? Yeah.
Man. Well, I can't say it any better than that. That's as good as you can say it right there. So we're going to jump right into this episode of the TNQ podcast. And I tell you what, the historical thing today, bud, the one the wizard found on this, brother, this is a whole nother level. And it's totally appropriate for who we have coming on, right?
Right.
So the TNQ, the Team Never Quit historical thing today. All right, stand by. Because today we're going to talk about the Tendai Buddhist monks of Japan, right? The Tendai Shu, the marathon monks. And now these cats...
I've never heard of them. And I mean, I'm not... Everyone knows I'm not a runner. That is no secret. But
he likes to break
through the martial science and everything I've studied and look into Buddhism just to kind of get an idea. You talk about... I thought it was a joke.
Well, when the wizard brought it to us, I was like, there's no way these dudes are normal.
47 people in 400.
46 people in the last 146 years have been able to accomplish this. All right, now let me give you a little backstory, okay? The Tendai Buddhist monks were originally from China, but they immigrated into Japan in about 804 or 805 AD, right? And they set up this monastery on this place called Mount Haishu in Japan. All right. Now, one of the things that these people were all about is like all monks and like most of us out there are looking for enlightenment. We're on this incredible path to try and figure out who we are, what our purpose in life, what our meaning is. And so one of the coolest things is when you can find a group of people that really take it to another level, like Team Guys or SF or whoever out there that, is in. So one of the things we want to share with you is how the Tendai monks do this, right, Marcus?
Yep.
All right, so they have something that's called the 1,000-day challenge. Now, when you think about what a 1,000-day challenge is, a lot of people out there are like, well, all right, 1,000 days. I mean, that's a few years, but here you go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So the marathon monks, in year one of the 1,000-day challenge, to the path of enlightenment, they run 18 miles for 100 days straight. But that's not it. In year two, they do 18 miles a day for 100 days straight. In year three, they do 18 miles a day for 100 days straight. In year four, they do 18 miles a day for 200 straight days. In year five, they do 18 miles a day for 200 straight days. And after the last run, the monk must go 9 consecutive days without food, water, or rest, with basically 2 monks standing next to him to ensure he doesn't fall down, fall asleep. They whack him in the head, kind of like Hell Week with us, right?
Yep.
On year 6, the monks got to run 37 miles a day for 100 straight days. But that's not it, Marcus. We're almost there, right? Hold on. In year 7, by the way, the monk has to run 52 miles a day per day for 100 straight days. Then he must run 18 miles a day for the final 100 days of the challenge. Now, brother.
Journey.
Right?
Right?
Well put. This is a journey to enlightenment, man. And here's the deal. Now, apparently on Mount Hay, there are literally, hundreds of unmarked graves.
What's that part about those straw sandals?
Oh, no, I will go over their kit that they run this thing in, the boat hat, the straw sandals, all that. They got to carry a sword with them, right? And a noose. Because the deal is, if you stop prior to the 100-day mark, when you first start this out and you start your first 100 days, if you can stop and there'll be no shame at all, you're good to go, right? You can ring the bell. But if you go over that 100 days and you move into that next part of the challenge, the next 1,000 days or the next 900 days, and you quit, by law of these monks, you got to take your own life on the journey. What do you think about all this, Marcus?
Man, so I saw in here that it said that they were the only ones that were allowed to wear shoes around the emperor in Imperial Japan. That ought to tell you how. That's
pretty
right.
That's pretty hardcore.
Back, sure. I mean, the emperor is godly, right?
The emperor was God. Right. Absolutely. So they wear their sandals because of how much movement they've done, how much running, how much pain they've endured.
And that's something, because they get branded with that title. I want that saintly title, man. And
they're saints. Right. They're living saints. Living saints. I mean, that's a pretty cool concept.
Talking about dropping your. So the idea is to exhaust the mind, body, and the spirit to nothingness, right? To where only emptiness is left in the vessel, and whatever's in your head right there that's your enlightenment.
That's it. And there's a quote from an article that we found in The Guardian. And the dude says, he goes, what's the reporter asked him, what's the idea behind this? What's the deal? And the guy responded in this: it's to exhaust the mind, the body, everything that you are, everything in your existence, until nothing is left. And when you're in that space, that's when it happens, man. That's when the enlightenment happens.
I mean, running it's probably only the ways you can do that, right? Where you can exhaust all of those. Because at a point in a long distance run, in which I've only done 13 miles, but I've talked to David on them, and
right.
When your body starts shutting down, it's your mind that has to keep you going, correct?
Period. Hands down.
So after a while, I would imagine even the mind starts to break. And then so once that happens, then the spirit. And then once you exhaust all of that, they throw you in that room for 9 days for enlightenment. That's
supposed to be when it happens.
The door, right?
But what I'm saying, brother, is
I can understand how this is supposed to work. I don't know if I don't have the.
You up for that? Should we start off?
I like how enlightened I am right now. I completely respect anybody who is willing to go that route and to achieve enlightenment, man.
And this thing is called, by the way, it's called the Kaihogyo. I hope I'm not butchering this. So if you're Japanese, if you're one of the,
what was that?
There's like one dude.
Butcher everything.
There's like one dude out there, by the way, who's done it. You can see a picture of him in that Guardian article, and he's got his killer hat on.
Can't miss him.
You can't miss him. He's got his killer hat on. He's got his little cloaks, his little sandals that he did this thing in. And he does not look like a stud. He doesn't look like David, does he? I mean, he just looks like a dude who did this. But that dude's a saint.
Genshin Fujinami.
Yeah, Genshin Fujinami. That was as good as my pronunciations. So the Kai Hyogyo is this practice, man. So when you think about this, and you think about your life right now, what quest are you on? I mean, that's the real question you got to ask you. And where are you searching for your own meaning?
Yeah. Think about the guys who are doing it today, because the cameras followed this joker around, right?
Yeah.
So he had to do it.
Well,
you know what I'm talking about? Back in the day, man, you're out pulling your 100 miles, you'd be like, I'm
at like 70. I think I'm gonna stop.
Most of it in here. You know what I mean? The last 10 miles ain't gonna mean.
Nobody's seeing this.
I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying I've had that thought, right? When we were getting our nuts stepped on, you had that Hey, look, man, kicking me the first time and kicking me the 10th time, it's the same deal, man.
Unlike push-up 400,
Right.
401,
That's right.
402,
Yeah.
just your head bobbing.
Why do I need to do 1,000 of these?
And this is 1,000 days, dude.
Right. But, I mean, to get that title, so there's, I mean.
It's serious.
Yeah. He's all business these days, man. you can't this day and age if you're doing something like that where a great accomplishment, people see it.
Oh yeah, it's on.
Right,
it's on.
Yeah, they'll find out a way to figure out if you're full of it.
Yeah, and what I love is the inspiration that you can get, because when you look at that picture, man, he's an ordinary guy, dude. You know, he's volunteering to do this, right? This is his own pursuit of, as opposed to survival. You know, it's not like someone's got a gun to his head going, hey, Mug, you're going to get out there. You're going to run for 1,000 days. You're going to crush yourself. You're going to move. This is his own desire.
I know that the term is enlightenment, and they have to go through all this to get enlightenment. But, I mean, imagine how, and that's what they have to do. They got to put their body in a position of pain like that with mind, body, pain, spirit. I wonder how the clarity they have before they start that. Because you got to have some to be willing to do it,
well,
right?
That's a great point that you're making. I mean? Because is it clarity or is it just because you're not clear on what you're doing? You have no idea what you're about to undertake, just like Bud's, right?
So maybe maybe they got it backwards. Maybe it's the enlightenment of doing this that's going to bring me the clarity of that. What's
of the act itself.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that right?
the actual. I love where your head's at on this. It's the clarity, the drive, the desire to want to do it in the quest of each step that hopefully in that you will find. So you got a point going. We're gonna have to ask our next guest.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna. I think
that's the great part about this, man. Is we get spun like this, we'll just ask. We got the guy.
We got the guy coming on, and this guy knows he's on. I think that quest. From everything that you've said, I've never met him before. Everything that you've talked about, he's on this type of journey. And there's a good chance, I really hope, man, that when we listen to this, man, he's going to help us understand why he puts this on. So what do you say, Marcus? Let's get old David on. Now, Marcus, I'm telling you, we're in the element that makes sense to us. We don't, I know a lot of the other guests that we would have on the show. Man, you have to make that mental leap to understand, what they're thinking about, where they're coming from. And I'm not saying that I get by any stretch where our next guest is coming from, because I personally think he's nuts, right? But that's me. But what we do know is where he came from, right? And he come from where we come from.
Right, exactly. What I love about him is the fact people come up like, oh, hey, man, you were a Navy SEAL. I was like, oh, yeah, I was proud of doing it. He goes, David Goggins is SEAL too. I was like, yeah, I wasn't like him. I wouldn't like that one.
No, that's a whole different level right there.
There's a huge gap between getting that trident on your chest and
running Badlands.
Right. What other guys are capable of who also wear it. Right. And although I do everything I can do just to be a part of it, remember, I'm just so happy to be around.
You're just glad to be a part of this show.
I love being a part of the show, man. No matter what it is. So when you see our exceptional ones, and they are because we all talk about them. That's how you know if you're exceptional in our community, because they talk about you like that. And I mean, this guy's one of it, man. And him and my brother are tight. I mean, real close.
Super close.
Real close, yeah. And
isn't your brother starting? Isn't he going to run Leadville this year or something like that?
Yeah, something dumb. Hey, talk each other into doing all that. And I'll probably get drug into it just because.
Oh, you're there. You're going.
Yeah. Sure, happily. And if I wind up doing it, I'll suck it up. I won't. I couldn't. I got 13 miles in me, no matter what. I've team guided down to where I will literally run up to 13 miles if it'll kill me. I just can't. You know what I'm talking about? It's one of them suck up and ruck runs. After my last surgery, we did that half marathon. I was like, I can do 13. Always.
Always, because it's ingrained. It's ingrained. It's imprinted.
It's beat down in there.
All right. Without further ado, it's such a privilege and an honor to welcome Mr. David Goggins onto the show. one of the greatest ultra athletes of the modern era who takes things to a whole nother level, a whole nother place. I'm happy to call him a teammate, and it's a privilege to meet you now, David. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. So what we always do, David, to get you loosened up, unlike he's not loosened up right here. He probably did 100 miles this morning eating his Wheaties. All right. Well, just
you loosen up, bitch. That's what I was waiting for. I can't believe that didn't come flying back over that phone line. I'll loosen up. I'm always ready, man. That's his mentality. That's the back of his head. That's what he was saying.
That's what he was saying. And you just let those fly, David. Just let those come right out, team guy style. All right. All right. So what we do with every guest that comes on, we put you through a mad minute. Now it's going to be rapid fire. It's just to warm your brain up, to exercise your brain, get it functioning in a fun way, so you get loosened up to where we get into the meat and potatoes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first question is, if you could live in any era in human history, what era would that be?
It'd be this era right now.
That's cool. All right, if you had to fight one, who would you choose to fight, Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Han Solo.
If you could be any character out of a book or a movie and play that out in real life, who would it be?
It'd be the Hulk.
What is up with you guys and superheroes? I don't even get this, man. I got to find my superhero, man.
You don't have a...
I don't
First
know.
off, top of your head from a kid.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's weak. That's weak.
So Superman. I love Superman.
Thank you. All right. How is that hard?
I don't know. It's not.
We're putting it back in. You're right.
Thank you. Bringing it on.
You have lost the light of the superhero.
I've lost my way. All right. Well, that's why I need you guys around. All right. Here you go. If you could give truth serum to any human being on the planet to get, to answer some questions for you, who would you give that to?
Obama.
If you could sing any song like the artist who sings it at halftime during Super Bowl, what song would it be? I love this question.
Oh, God, that's a good one. It would have to be the, it's actually a, God, what's the name of it? Rocky 14. I can't think of it, but it'd be the Philharmonica, wherever the hell they are, that play Rocky 14. The round 14 of Rocky.
Right. Who sings that's the song from Rocky 4 during the last.
It's Bill Conti.
Yeah. I don't remember it right now. My mind's blank. Listen. Let me. You know where I'm at.
Look where he just twisted us on our own.
He just twisted that shit. Because the only thing when you say Rocky, the only thing I got in my mind is Rocky 3. Clubber Lang, Rocky 3. I pity the fool. That's all. I can't go anywhere else.
Epic Rocket movies, epic music. That's why you can watch it, get fired up, or hear music from it and get fired up. Right?
Tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Yep. Dude. All right. Last question. All right. Last question for you. What is the greatest achievement of your life, David?
The greatest achievement of my life, oh man, it's probably my first 100-mile race when I was 280 pounds, and I completed that race with no training, and I pretty much probably should have died during the race and after the race for sure. That had to have been it.
Wow.
I did it with no training. It was horrible.
It was horrible, but the greatest achievement. I love the connectivity of pain with great achievements. Isn't that awesome? I mean, that's awesome.
Makes you appreciate it a lot more. If that's the one he dug up, that there was some pain involved, right?
Oh, brother.
Right?
I mean, this is the dude who does it on a regular basis, man. That's all I'm saying. So, all right, that's awesome. Dave, thanks for, participating in our ridiculous mad minute. It's more like 6 minutes or something. I don't even know. So let's jump right into this. So reason why people come to the Team Never Quit podcast is because they want something that we have. They want to understand what it takes to get in. If they're ever in that hardship of life, they're getting the beat down, they're getting crushed, that they have something they can pull out of them, that they can endure, that they can persevere, that they can triumph in the face of the greatest adversities that we know within the human condition. So let's just jump right in with you. Would you please share your greatest never quit story with us and our listeners?
I will, and it's that 100-mile story I'll share with you right now. Basically, everybody's familiar with the lone survivor, Marcus Luttrell story.
Yep.
At the time, I was at free fall school with Marcus's twin brother, and we were just graduating free fall school at the same time. Marcus was going through probably the worst incident in SEAL history, and basically he got a call from his mom. He talked to his mom, and I don't know the exact details, but Morgan told me that Marcus was in a serious, it was a serious incident that went down, and we didn't know much about it. All we knew was that everybody died and Marcus was missing. And, about 3 days later, Morgan called me up and said basically that, they found Marcus and Marcus was alive, and it touched me in a very special way. And it probably ruined my Navy SEAL career because I was so touched by it. I was driven in a whole different direction. Mm-hmm. But basically what happened was I went home, and a few months later, it just kept on playing in my mind about what these guys went through, and I wanted to do something for their families. And what I did was I Googled the 10 hardest races in the world. And what came up was the Badwater 135. It's a 135-mile race through Death Valley in the summertime. And I was very, I was ignorant to all this stuff. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a stage race. I didn't know a human being could run that far at one time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was about 260 pounds, whatever. Hadn't gone running in over a year. Just got back from Iraq and then went straight to free fall school. And basically, the race director kind of laughed at me and said, "You got to qualify to do my race." And I said, "How do you qualify?" He goes, "You got to run 100 miles in 24 hours or less." And there was only 2 more races I could do to qualify for the Badwater. And the Badwater was going to be the big race for me to raise money for, fallen soldiers,
mm-hmm.
Guys who died over there.
Right.
So basically, he said, "Hey, there's a race on Saturday," and I called him up on a Wednesday. So basically, I had Thursday, Friday, and then the race was on Saturday. I had pretty much 2 days, 3 days to get ready for this race, and I had to put on running shoes over a year.
Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. I ain't got nothing else to do. Let's do this.
Basically, the race, I had to run 100 miles in 24 hours or less to qualify for the Badwater. And this race
you got to put in 100 miles to qualify to go do another
135 miles.
I don't even like to drive 100 miles anymore, man. I just want to make this perfectly clear about our relationship. It goes to the death with this mother. I would die for this dude. But there is some crap he does where I'm like, why do you do that? I will literally fly your ass wherever you want to go from here on out, brother, just because of how hard you put out. And he's still, I didn't mean to interrupt, man, but even when we're on stage during Patriot Tour, Jessica and everybody's like, don't go out there. Because when he starts talking about running these 100-mile races just to warm up, it pisses me off, man. I'm like, I cannot do that. I've tried. I just can't. I mean, it's amazing to me. That's the kind of caliber. You blow me away every time you tell us. It just baffles me.
All right. So you got 2 days to race in your first 100 miles. Go.
Right. So basically, I'm at Trade now. I'm getting ready to go, to a green team and whatnot, and I'm at Trade and basically, Mr. Burns was in charge of Trade Joe Burns, and
yep.
I told him what I was going to do, and he pretty much said, you're going to need a heart monitor. So I got, I went out and got a heart monitor, tried it out, did one run. I did a 4-mile run in preparation for my 100-mile race or whatever.
So check this out. That's the best part about it. So let me just explain to you what just happened there. So in order to just do 100 miles, he warmed up like a freaking Bud Shuffle 4-mile tower. And thank God he had the heart monitor on.
Thank God Joe was there to give him a heart rate.
Hey, most people pack for vacation in 3 days. You know what I'm talking about? Not trained to run 100 damn miles. To run 100 damn miles. What? Am I the only one that sees this?
So I was married at the time. I'm now divorced. Probably why she left me. So basically I was married, and I called my wife up, my ex-wife, and I was like,
"You wanted to drive?
I'm gonna do this. I'm going to do a 24-hour race where you run around a 1 mile track for 24 hours and you get as many miles as you can in 24 hours. So, she thought I was stupid. So, she left work and we went to Walmart, and my nutrition was a box of Ritz crackers and Mileplex.
Which was lovely, lovely.
So basically, every mile I would see her around a 1 mile track, and I had this blue lawn chair. So basically, I get to the race, and I'm out there, and I have on no t-shirt, these black shorts, Brooks running shoes, and I start running. And so basically, at about mile 30, I'm doing okay. At about 35 miles, that's when everything just kind of really fell apart for me. I started having really bad stress fractures, shin splints. I started feeling the metatarsals in my feet starting to break because I was so big, and I didn't have any preparation going into this. And when you run on a flat, it was a flat 1 mile track. You're using the same exact muscle groups. It's almost better if you have climbing involved and downhill. It was the same muscle group, so my muscles were really aching really bad. So I managed to suffer to get to mile 50, and then I started doing the butt shuffle with a little bit of walking, and then I would butt shuffle and I walk again. I got to mile 70 pretty quickly. I got there in about 12 hours, mile 70.
What?
But yeah, I got through 70 miles in 12 hours, and the biggest mistake I made in the situation. Now, I was totally done at mile 70, and I was totally dehydrated. It was November in San Diego. I hadn't gone to the bathroom yet. I hadn't done anything in 12 hours. I was totally in the tank, and I sat down. And it was the worst decision I ever made in my life was to sit down. And my body just thought it was over. I had gone 70 miles, so I was pretty proud of myself and whatnot. But now I had the urge to go to the bathroom, and I was totally broken up. I was all jacked up, and I'm looking at my wife and my ex-wife, and she was like, "Hey, you're looking horrible." And I'm like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." So basically, long story short, I sat in that chair. I looked at her, and I couldn't get up because my blood pressure was so messed up, and my feet were broken. I had stress fractures, and I couldn't get out of the chair because every time I would get up, I would get real dizzy because of my blood pressure. And I had no sugar. I had nothing. So I was really lightheaded. So I asked her if she loved me. She said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I'm going to take a crap on myself right now." so I sat in that blue chair and I took a crap
why not,
up,
dude? You just slumped through 70 miles.
And I started peeing. And I started peeing blood down my leg, and I was going into kidney failure, and I was just all jacked up. And this is where I talk about the most pain I went through in my life. I was in several hell weeks, and I went through a lot of different crap that hurt me in my life. But at mile 70, this was the time of my life where I realized that we as humans haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg as far as what we're capable of doing mentally. So I'm sitting there, I'm all messed up. I can't get up. My feet are broken. I'm in really bad shape. I have crap up my back. I'm peeing blood down my leg. And my ex-wife's like, "Hey, you're done." And I sat there, and all I could think about was, just being a SEAL. And I hate to say that because, I'm proud of being a SEAL, but I'm a true believer that every Navy SEAL that's made it through SEAL training, we were SEALs before we got there.
Wow.
Because why? Navy SEAL training is not like everyone, "Oh man, you're a SEAL. Oh my God." No. Hold up. No. The training is put there for hard men to make it through. If you're not hard, you quit.
Right.
Navy SEAL, it does not make you the man that you are. You walk into that training already a SEAL. If you make it through, you're already a hard mother. So basically, I like to give them credit.
All the talents are added afterward.
Yeah, a lot of SEALs take, the old school guys take a lot of, like people who are making money off of whatever. They need to shut up. Navy SEAls made Navy SEAls. So,
just put a name on it,
there,
right? Just put a name on it. Yeah.
That's it. So basically, I was sitting there. I was like, I can't let my blows down, and I'm sitting there, and all I wanted to do, my mindset was, this is where the race starts for David Goggins. So at mile 70, I was kind of in a, not to be so sick about it, but I wanted to see who I was. So I was sitting in that chair at 30 miles to go. I'm finished. I'm done. There's nothing left. And that's when I kind of smiled inside my head and said, all right, man, now we're going to see who you really are. Now the race really starts. You're jacked up. You're dehydrated. You get crap up your back. You get peed on your leg. So it was a total switch in mindset for me versus feeling sorry for myself and feeling like, I guess, a normal human being would. I guess taking that 70 miles and being proud of it. I took that 70 miles and said, okay, now we're going to see what you're made of, Goggins. And that motivated me in a very twisted way to find something much deeper in me. And I did. And I was able to get out of the chair, and I was able to knock out the next 30 miles. And after that was over with, I was in really, really, really bad shape. And but I got through it, and I called the race director up for Badwater, and he didn't sound too impressed because I did 101 miles in 19 hours. And he said, well, you have 5 hours left. And what that meant to me was he wasn't real impressed with what I did. So there was one race left called the Hurt 100, and it's one of the hardest trail races in the world. You have 30,000 feet of climbing over 100 miles. And at the time, only a handful of people had completed the race. And I went out there 3 weeks later with broken feet. And I went out there with cast on my feet, and I finished the race, and I qualified for Badwater. So that was...
Well, David, I mean, this is... I mean, I'm sitting here, my mouth is open. I mean, Jess is looking at me over in the other seat. She's laughing because my mouth is open. Marcus is just bebopping his head like, yep, that's my man right there. He's like...
it's great being on the other... Because he's so much a part of our life, and we hear people...
Yeah.
And Jess can't even hear you.
Yeah.
She's just watching your face, and she knows what he's telling you.
I know. She's heard the story.
She sees people's reactions to those stories, and I mean, I tell you that you're a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, and I'm literally, my mouth
this
is
one of our dudes. This is why it's so cool.
Brothers. Yeah.
So cool to be in this fraternity is because we got dudes like this.
That makes my mouth open.
Who get out there and do this crazy ass stuff under the banner of that Trident as well. Make no mistake about it. So guess what? I will gladly let you get out there and do that, brother, and represent us as a hard motherfucker you are. Excuse my language, because that's what you are. I mean,
period.
Right. Yeah.
Period. End of sentence. You don't hit that because one half of your life, and yes, you've already been through the crucible of all these other amazing challenges, Hell Week, Ranger School, all that other stuff, but you really hit to the core of what the human condition in my mind is all about. In those moments where you decide, all right, do I believe I can be something more than what I perceive myself? And I've had every physical or perceptual, emotional and mental limitation is sitting on me, and my bloody urine on my leg, my fecal particulate over my body, my wife looking at me like I'm gonna die, ex-wife, whatever. And you said no. Now's where the challenge really begins. Now's where the real life begins. So if you could, David, describe that 30 miles, because that's what their listeners right now are saying. All right, I get it. He crushed himself to get there, but what happened in that 30 miles? What did you see that then transformed you to be able to continue on and do these insane things for a living?
Well, I'll first start off by saying hopefully the listeners don't think I'm nuts, because I'm
far from it. Far from it. Absolutely not.
So hopefully they don't try to take me and put me in a category of...
No, people who listen to this get it. I mean, they come on here to hear about people who are capable of things that you are. It's not one of them deals like, that guy's stupid. Anybody who says that is one of them lazy ass, I mean...
Well, I think you said it yourself, David, too. Like, you're a man that was in a position and you wanted to see what kind of man you were. And there's something that unifies all of us, whether you're a man or woman or whatever, that you want to know what you are, what you're made of, what you can do. And I think that you don't have, I mean, everybody who's here listening, or all listeners, man, they believe in you. They want to hear this because they want to have that opportunity and to perform like you did?
Well, I'll go through the last 30 miles for me. So I was sitting there at, in my porta potty, pretty much my porta potty lawn chair. And, so I looked at my ex-wife and I said, hey, she was real worried. She was a nurse and whatnot. She knew what was going on in my body. And like I said, at this point in time, my mindset started to go to a different spot. And I'm a big believer in how you think. Most people need a personal trainer. They need this and that. But, how we think and how we view things. If we view things as being dark, it's dark. If we view things as being, like the water's too cold, the water is too cold.
Amen.
So I was starting to already, take my situation and kind of take ownership and I'm a big believer in fighting pain with pain.
Interesting.
So when I sat in that chair, I was in so much pain that I wanted to get up. I wanted to complete my mission. So I was drinking tons of fluids, and I finally got out of that chair about an hour and a half later. And when I got back up, I realized I was in so much pain I couldn't step off the curb. Just like a little street curb. I couldn't get off of that curb. And my ex-wife kind of walked with me for from mile 70 to mile 81. And at 81 is where everything really changed for me. I was barely walking. I was doing about 37-minute miles, and she said, "You're not going to make the time." She said, "You're just not going to make the time." She said, "You're out here dying." And at that moment, at mile 81, I just gone through mile 81, and my chip went off. And when she said, "You're not going to make the time," and so basically, I took that and I started flashing back to the times in my life.
I was about to say, what are you saying in your head, man? You got a song rolling in there? You got a thought you're thinking of? I mean, you got walking around the same track for a mile or for a mile track for 100 miles. Think about that. Tracks they're not built for beauty.
I'm waiting to hear it. He's about ready to tell us what's in his head. A little bit. That's all right.
Was that right? A little bit?
A little bit. He's about ready. Dude, I was like, I'm hanging on every fucking word right now. And I'm literally like, say it, damn it, say it.
Give it to me.
So basically, I'm a big believer in self-talk, and I love to self-motivate myself with very dark images. So as you all know from going through Hell Week and all that stuff, sometimes your best buddy can't motivate you because they can't be in your head. You may be in a boat crew, but the guys that are successful in anything that's hard, they're able to motivate themselves internally with their own self-talk and their own images. And my images at that time of my life, I was able to go to a dark spot. And how I came up, you don't know my life story, but I came up very, very, very poorly. I had a very bad upbringing where I shouldn't be where I'm at today. And I used all that for motivation. All the people who said, "You're nobody, you're nothing, you're never going to make it." So the image I had in my head at 81 was of a child, and that child is me at the bottom of a sewer. Like my mom had me.
Oh, wow.
My mom placed me in the sewer, left me there to die. And from the sewer, I found different things to eat and water to drink, and I nourished myself enough to climb out of the sewer. And I went from the sewer to the road. I went from the road to... So basically, it's just a dark image of a human being who made it from nothing. And so that image literally just propelled me through the last 19 miles, and I ran the last 19 miles. So,
Wow.
I came up pretty much alone. I had to learn everything myself and do things by myself. And that image of me in that dark image, it really makes me, it makes me very strong. It makes me a very strong individual, able to take, insurmountable pain and suffering.
Wow.
Man, and you look at yourself like that coming up, man, like, hey, look, I was born and raised in the gutter. Yeah. You're going to come at me and stop me, man. You're going to have to get down in the gutter. And no one wants to do that.
No.
Everybody gets out of there. The people who were born down in there and learn how to
crawl out
of there, pull all that together and keep it, man. That's the foundation that you actually have to get past if you want to beat them.
Right.
And no one is willing to go as dark as
That's
some
just
people,
dark.
right?
Well,
yeah.
and what I find fascinating, David, is like this concept that you like you face pain with pain, but it's not just the physical pain, right? It's not just the aches, the agony of your feet and legs. It's legitimately that visionary work, right? That being able to place that energy of real true negativity and the empowerment that you pull from it. What's amazing,
Right.
have you always had that ability?
I like to say same thing on that, man. We all do this, and he may not even recognize this. I picked it up, but that blue chair, right? So
Yes.
what we do is we focus a lot of our focus points are in pain. I remember when I was
We
going
talk
through
about
Hell
it
Week,
all the time.
we hit. Adam Brown ran into that swerve sign, that swerve sign going to Dave. You know what I'm talking about down in the demo pits?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? He hit that, and that was a contentious source of pain. I always remember that sign, and every time I see one of those signs, I go straight back to that boat crew that night of Hell Week. You know what I mean? And that blue chair, he knows, damn it. If he's in a position of how bad something sucks, it's a blue chair moment.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I think it's even more so.
Right? I mean, but those are the little things. We add those in there as little points of reference.
Absolutely, and we were talking about that earlier today. And
Did I didn't get that point
no,
across?
you 100%.
Okay.
It's a neurological reference point that you can attach. Now, what's remarkable, David, and I want to just if you can elaborate on this a little bit more. Really, I mean, have you had that your whole life? That ability to fight pain with pain in order to make it through all that stuff? I mean, is that self-taught? Is that through your environment? Where did that come from? Because that's the beautiful thing, man.
It's self-taught. I'm a big believer. I mean, I don't go to church or whatnot, but I believe in a much higher power than myself. And I like to tap into the energy of the world. Like, I was not to, get too deep into my life story, but I had to develop something to become a man. So I had very low self-esteem coming up, very, very low self-esteem. And nobody was there to kind of teach me the ways of a man.
Right.
No one was ever there to teach me the ways of a man. And all I wanted to be was a man. And so I developed Goggins. My name is David Goggins, but when I developed Goggins, and Goggins is the evil force that is able to come out and conquer all. Mm-hmm. It's a person that doesn't care what you say about him. It's a person that doesn't care about how he feels or how he acts or anything. It's something I developed to get through my childhood, to get past the image in the mirror. My reflection in the mirror was such a horrible one. I wasn't proud of myself. I would lie about things to make people, accept me and like me. And I wasn't proud of because I knew the truth. I knew the truth. And the only way I could become the man I wanted to become is I had to face the fears, and I was afraid of everything. So through facing all these fears, I started really empowering myself to realize that I can do so much more. And I started to tap into the brain and started to tap more into, people call it mental toughness,
right?
And all this other crap, but motivation is not enough. I changed motivation into passion. And like when it's cold outside, people who are motivated, like right now, I may be motivating somebody. Motivation is crap. Motivation comes and it goes. Like if it's cold outside and people get a blast of minus 10-degree air, they're going to walk their ass back inside. That's motivation. Motivation comes and goes. If you're happy, you're motivated. If you're sad, you're not.
Right.
I wanted to become a person that was driven. And when you're driven, you
passion.
don't give a damn. You don't care if your best friend gets shot in the head, you still have a job to do. You don't get poopy pants and fall into that woe is me. You continue moving forward, and through my life, I found passion. And when you find passion, you almost cannot describe to people what the hell I'm trying to describe right now because it's over their head. It's over their head. You almost can't describe it because it's
drug.
Drug's
the best way I try to describe it to people who don't know what I'm talking about is a drug. Everybody's been on a drug, right? Sick, right? You know what I'm talking about? You need that earn for it. Helps you out, makes you feel better. that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think it's deeper than that, what he's talking about, because I mean, and for Don,
sure, of course. I'm just
correct me if I'm
just
wrong.
to relate it to.
Yeah. But think about drugs. For a lot of people, are therapeutic, right? They ease the suffering, they ease the pain.
That's why he runs. That's therapeutic for him.
Well, but what I'm saying is, though, part of this who Goggins is, man, this ability, this evil force, as he talks, almost a superhero personality that he's cultivated in order to, transcend all the things that he had, low self-esteem, all this stuff. Man, it fueled him to discover this purpose and this quest to go search out pain, man.
He talks about it perfectly. He molded him. He turned himself into something. And I mean, he saw, and that's the thing. Team guys, we watch a lot of movies, and I did that growing up and everything. And if I saw something on TV that fascinated me and I wanted to be like it, I started going to do that.
Right.
And that's one thing, and that's what he did. And I can't understand a lot of people. How else do you mold your life? What do you do that out of? You have the books you read, what you see, right?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Or is it just supposed to happen? The way it's supposed to happen is if you see something like in a movie, like Jason Bourne, I want to be like him. What do I need to do? All right, I need to start training to do this. How do I do that? And back it all the way up like he did and build Goggins.
Bill Goggins. All right. Now, all right. That's a great point. That's all right. So David, this is really fascinating. I mean, we haven't had anybody else on the show tap into it in the way you're tapping in. So, this is amazing stuff. This is what our listeners need to hear. Hell, it's what I need to hear, bro. So, one of the things that now I want to know is, you've finished that, the incredible journey. You finished that one. Then you went up for the next one. What happened in the bad water? I mean, take us through that moment of getting there, and what was that like?
So my first bad water, so I qualified for the race, and I weighed, about 260 pounds. So I lost 60 pounds in about 4 months. and they select the top, at that time, the top 90 ultra runners, pretty much in the world. And I was not that. So basically what I did was I would train in the sauna. I had a treadmill in the sauna, and I put a bike in the sauna, and I would just train in the sauna. And I was pretty clueless still on how to do everything. And I got to the start line of the race, and my feet were still broken. So I went to the start line of the hardest foot race on the planet with cast on my feet. So if you go
that's
to
all
the
I had
webcast,
to wear.
Yeah, so if you go to the webcast of Badwater 2006 Badwater, you will see this black compression tape around my ankles. And once again, it was a total mindset for me, going to the start line to run 135 miles on broken feet. And it was a total mindset for me. And so I get there, and I got fifth place my first year, and basically how I did it was I just didn't stop moving. I just used the same mindset, and just to go back on the whole mindset thing is, there's a whole bunch of men and women who are now buried and dead, who live to be 100 years old, who never really started their journey. They may have kids, and they may have, they may have had a great life. And what I mean by never started their journey is most of us walk around in fear.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
And we're scared to death. We're scared to death. So we pick a different route. And when you pick a different route because you're afraid, you never start the journey that God put you on. The journey is not supposed to be the journey of fun.
No.
And most of us take that right turn because you're like, oh man, I'm scared to jump from an airplane, so I'm not going to be a Navy SEAL. I'm going to go be in finance. That's not the journey. The journey starts when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not who I need to be. I need to overcome these fears. And that's when your journey begins. So most people die thinking they had a great life, but they never even start the fucking journey. They never start the journey. They never started their journey. So
they had no idea what kind of life they could have had.
Right, exactly.
Remarkable.
They have so if I would have stayed in my same scared kid that I was, I would be here right now, probably spraying for cockroaches at 41 years old, never knowing I could have been an ultra runner, could have been a Navy SEAL, could have been an Army Ranger, could have been an Air Force tactical air control. I did all these things because I started my journey. Most people have no idea what they're capable of because they're so afraid to start their journey, and they die not knowing.
Well, that's the thing that blows me away. And we see that a lot, David, especially when we're on the road, man. These people coming up, they're like, man, I wanted to be this more than anything. But as if it's unattainable. I think some of these deals where, and that's a beautiful perspective that David paints, man, is he come from nothing, and he is the pinnacle of what a human being is capable of right now.
And I bet if you were to ask him, he still has so much farther to go. So
in 2016, if you're like, what man should I look at to see how far you can push a human being? Dave Goggins.
Dave Goggins.
Right?
Boom.
Bottom line, that's not up for debate kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because he also has a world record in pull-ups, push-ups. I mean, we go down the line. We're talking about one damn race here, man.
Yeah.
But where was I going with that?
Well, what you're saying is that there's human beings that are listening right now that are in the space.
Yes, why not? I mean, look, if you want to do it, go do it. It's not impossible.
Right.
If it was impossible, you wouldn't have heard about it.
And I think what David, in the profound statements that he's making to our listeners, and listeners, this is profound, so please, if you didn't get it the first time, rewind and go back over on what he said. You know, it's profound, and it's about that quest for that pain, that journey, that search of who he really is. Is that what makes you pivot and try, for instance, to break the world records of pull-ups, David?
Right. It is. So, at that time in my life, I couldn't run because I had some issues going on health-wise and whatnot.
Oh.
So, but I wasn't doing enough to fulfill my journey. I want to die tired. I want to die fulfilled. I want to be in my casket and I want to look up to the heavens and say, man, I'm kind of glad this is over, man, because I was going to keep on pushing until this happened.
Wow.
So, basically that's when I can rest. And I was sitting around and I'm always trying to find something to push my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit. I want to find something that makes me think about quitting, because that's when you know who you are. You don't know who you are when you're watching a game or whatever. Mm-hmm. You got to put yourself into a 200-mile race or whatever it may be for whoever. It's all relative. And at 100 miles, when you're exhausted and you're through and you're dehydrated and you have 100 miles left and you have all kinds of decisions to make, you can decide to quit or decide this and decide that. That's when you know who you truly are, when you're at the final breath you think you have, and you have 100 miles to go, and you think you have nothing left, and all your body's saying is quit. Like in Hell Week, all your body's saying is to quit. Your body's saying, I hurt. Your body's saying, I ache.
Hey, I got a question for you, brother. Hey, listen to this, man. Is the euphoria that we get the minute we finish Hell Week, is it twice as good when you finish that race like that? When you go for it past, there's not much past Hell Week. Is racing that hard? What I want to know is that drug still there? That's what because there is. No, I hate to use drug, right? But there's a euphoria, right?
The pleasure in your brain.
Pleasure, right? When you get through Hell Week, do you not just feel like a different human being?
Absolutely, but
you have to feel that after one of those races, right?
I'm hearing.
I mean, is it constant?
Well, ask him.
I am asking him.
Oh.
I'm looking at you, ass, because you're sitting in front of me. What did I say? I said David, did I?
Remember, I'm David too, so I got sucked in.
Rut and Lut, you're out of character.
My bad.
Do we need a break?
No, I'm good. I'm mesmerized.
Did you have tummy
by
slaps?
what this man is saying on the phone. Because in my mind, he's not doing it for the pleasure of completion. He's doing it for the experience of the pain. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, you are. That's what you hear. But I'm asking, as men who do pain, there's got to be a.
You're halfway right. It's the experience of the pain, but it's mostly not like in a sicko way. Experience of pain. It's the experience of finding out who the hell I truly am.
So there's a joy in that. There's a pleasure, right? There's a sense. Right. There's an endorphin that kicks in. My greatest one was when I accomplished Hell Week.
Right.
That was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yep.
And we've all done that. Everybody sitting in this room has done that. Otherwise, why would you do it?
Right.
I mean, the reason we pushed ourselves was to see
It's
if we
the
could
journey.
do it. And there was something that we didn't know existed when we finished it. And that was that feeling, that transition from being before Hell Week to after it. Am I right? Was that there?
Yes.
I had that.
For me, it was what he's talking about. When
you're
it
from
took me-
Florida.
It took me a long time to realize. Now, David, what I'm hearing with you, I only started figuring out, much later, 4 years ago. I'm 44 now, and that it's about the journey. It's about each grueling step. It's about the recognition and the pleasure of being in pain, but also know the discovery of yourself is happening in the place. But for you, man, this is a lifelong journey and pursuit. And it seems to me, if I'm hearing you correctly, that the conversation that's going on in your head in the midst of all this is where that's happening, where that's discovery of who you are and yourself. Is that true?
Yes, that's exactly it. So when I first started this whole thing, it was truly about taking another man's soul. Because I felt so poorly about myself. So I've gone through different phases. It's not like that now. But when I was in Hell Week, I was a very evil human being. I wanted people to suffer. Like, I wanted my teammates to suffer. I wanted the buzz instructors to suffer. I wanted everybody to suffer.
You're in the right place.
My mindset was I wanted them to try to break us to nothing. I wanted my whole class to suffer so badly because I wanted to see, it's called, I wanted to take their soul.
Right.
And I love seeing people quit. I love seeing people be in pain. I used to feed off of that. And, so that part of me died away. And then it started becoming more about just myself. What am I capable of doing? Where's a human being capable of if they're willing to go past that door of pain, open it up and see what's behind the door.
Well, a lot of very smart people out there at a bunch of different labs that I'm sure you all have all contacted you on a regular basis would say, hey, yeah, there's one thing to be on a path of discovery, right? To be walking the earth and discover who you are through experience. But there's another group I'm sure that's saying, hey, man, what you're doing is masochistic. And there's other ways to discover yourself. So how do you respond to those clowns out there, or even our listeners that's saying, hey man, can I do this a different way? Do I have to experience the pain to figure out who I am?
And how does anybody like that have a leg to stand on? Everyone's different. How could you sit there in front of somebody and say, the way I choose to experience joy and pleasure is exactly how you need to do it?
Well, what we're doing on
there's really books like that.
Well, absolutely. Remember, really, what the show's about too is the people trying to find that common ground with us on this show, and the special people we have
so
on.
So instead of telling somebody how to find joy from one individual, why don't you say experience? Give all examples of it. Because everyone's different. Everyone obviously he has to do it his certain way. I do it mine. You have to do it yours.
Right.
We're unique
that makes sense.
because we're SEALs.
Right.
But to sit there and go, hey, this is how I do it, and if you don't do it like that, it's damn sadomasochistic because your body's getting hurt. Well, I think you're just a bitch. That's what I think. Right? David, am I right?
Yeah, you're right. But you know what?
You can't. That'd be like telling me how to romance my wife. You can give me some suggestions. It's kind of like the Weather Channel, right? I want constant updates. And I want to look and see from all different vantage points. So when it's my time, I got that. But do not, under any circumstances, tell me how to be happy. And am I way off on that?
You're spot on.
I'm not a psycho. I don't know, dude. You're the head straight. I'm just like David. I know what makes me happy, and I do it, and that involves pain.
Right.
Listen. I mean,
I have to put my body in situations, and I don't look at it as pain, though. It's not. I mean, it's pain to everybody else. To me, it's part of what I'm doing that makes me happy. We talked about that. It's like David putting on his shoes. Hold on.
That's a good question. That's a good point, David. Are you happy in that place?
Well, this is what I'll tell you, man, and I'm glad Marcus said this. I am not the one. I hate running. Okay, and people will not believe me. And at this point in my life, at 41, I don't care who believes me or not. I know the truth. I've been 300 pounds twice in my life.
Wow.
The real David Goggins is a guy that wants to sit his fat ass on the couch, watch football, and eat pizza. So I never wanted to be a SEAL to be a SEAL or a Ranger. I did all these things because I want to be proud of who I am. I don't want to look up to people like, I want to be equals with people. I don't want to, watch a movie of Navy SEALs and who I think are badasses feeling less of myself. I don't want to see people doing superhuman things and not be a part of it.
That's exactly. We talk about this on Patriot Tour. It's like when you see something or you hear a story about combat, when I'm sitting there watching a movie, I want to be doing that. I want to be in there, that character who's fighting the alien, whatever it is. If I see a movie on Navy SEALs, I'm like, well, that's kind of crap. We can't do that. But you know what I'm talking about? You want to always, and that's the difference right there. It's like when you're watching something, do you want to be in it or are you being entertained by it?
Well, the question is, all right, for both of you, because you guys are making some real significant points right now. David, why do you think people don't want to push it? Why do you think people don't want to project themselves? Why do you think people don't want to say, yeah, I want to be that?
I think that's a deep wheelhouse. I mean, that's humanity, society telling you not to do. Yeah, go ahead, David. You got that one.
I think it's open-mindedness. So one thing I've been blessed with is open-mindedness. I believe that what one man can do, another can do. And what people, no matter what color you are, where you're from, anything, but what most people nowadays, they don't have that mentality. That's why they look at Marcus, myself, you, as some super damn human people, and all we are is just just a person next door.
Ordinary. Ordinary people who allow ourselves to get into extraordinary situations. If something's going to go down, I just wanted to be there. And all the skills we have allow us to survive in whatever situation comes down. Right? That's just what it is. It's like, hey, man, your willingness to take out and hang out and get into something.
Well,
that's all it is. I'm not a masochist. I'm not crazy. I'm not nothing. I want to feel good about David Goggins, and that's the bottom line. People, all these people who interview me say, well, do you love yourself? Yeah, because everything I wanted to do in my entire life, I've done it. I'm so proud of David Goggins, and yes, I love David Goggins because I wasn't afraid.
Right.
Hey man, brother, you spent the whole part of your life the same way we did, is giving service to our people. So you're out doing something, and what you're doing doesn't affect anybody. The beat downs you take are right on you, pal. No matter how much I love you, no matter how much my brother loves you, we can't help you when you start that. It's not like the teams. I can't, we doctor you up when you get hurt.
Right.
But other than that, man, you're taking the road down by yourself, homie. That is a endless foe, an endless battle. That road, that war that you have chosen to undertake of being a runner you'll never beat it. A road never ends, man. And because you have the mentality of taking the trail, you're going to be running. You found something that I understand what you're saying now, man. The reason you do that because it makes you happy because you found something that beats your ass. Yeah. And you're going to be fighting it, and it gives you I get it. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I think what you're saying is that David,
love is blind.
And please, I don't. Love is blind. Well, love is pain, right? I mean, that's what I'm hearing out of him, and his pursuit to love himself. And his pursuit
know
to
himself.
Know thyself, right? I mean,
not love himself, know himself.
Well, one of the greatest. Well, through knowing yourself, you're able to love yourself.
That's how you say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And this is what's happening.
Just because you love yourself doesn't mean you know yourself
at all.
No. You have no idea what you're capable of just because you love yourself. Okay, you can look in the mirror and see what you like every day. If you get out and you bust your ass like he does, and you know what you're capable of, then you can love the fact that you have found that ability, and through all your abilities that you find through our friends and our team. He and I are exactly cut from the same cloth, just like you. And the only reason I know this is we've talked about this intensely every day on Patriot Tour. Hey, David, if I screw part of this up, jump in, man. I'm right.
You're 100% right.
Maybe not. I'm not right, but my perspective from our point of view is that
in this circle,
yeah, right here,
right in this circle that we are discussing, we all know the truth, and David is speaking the pure truth that we all aspire to live behind and under and through and all that.
But you should listen to what he has to say because he's taken it as far as a human can.
Well, I don't believe he thinks you. Dave, do you believe you have taken it that far?
Can right now, this moment. Tomorrow he'll do something more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, and what was interesting about the commentary you were making, Marcus, is that he's always on this journey. The journey is never going to end. He said so himself when he's pushing up daisies. The only way he's going to be satisfied is that he's done. Like he's exhausted. He's like, I'm tired, man.
The wizard. Remember Jessica? We were all joking about like, why is he running? I was like, I think he's running because I think one day he's going to run so far that his body physically changes into something other than what he is, and he never has to worry about getting tired again.
From an energy perspective, right, I mean that's it.
It's I'm going to keep running until something magnificent happens, which means my magnificent death, or I have no idea what's in his head. You know what I mean? You got to play it out like that.
Let me ask him, Dave, is that what the quest you're on?
Well, I know one thing. When I started this whole journey, trying to be a SEAL and all this other stuff I've tried to become, I just wanted to be proud of who I am as a man, and that's what I am now. So that's all. That's all it was. I was stripped of self-esteem at a young age, and I had to build it up on my own. No one was going to give it to me.
Perfect.
And I gave it to myself. No one's going to give you self-esteem. No one's going to give you that. You have to find it. And I don't care what your job. I don't care if it's going through buzz. I don't care if it's going through running races. I don't care if it's going to college. Whatever your journey is, whatever it is, you got to start it by not being afraid, and you have to gain pride. And now at 41 years old, I'm not ashamed of the image in the mirror. I have a lot of pride.
That's awesome.
How do you say?
That's awesome.
Self-esteem is what exactly what he said is. I mean, I put a shirt on. Sometimes I feel good about it, but that shirt's going to come off. There better be something behind that you feel good about. And why don't you start with yourself?
Well, I mean, right? That's this whole thing.
It's adding on to that, man. He's taking it down to that part, man. I was trying to. We were trying to explain what he is, and he's sitting right there. He's like, "I'll tell you what I am, man. I'm proud of the man I become, and that's all me and you are men. That's it. Human, just a man, right? And the fact that he goes, you know what, man? I got one life to live, and I'm gonna be proud of myself. I'm gonna find a way to do that. And bro, special. 2 branches of the Special Forces, everything you've done for this family, for Patriot Tour, and being on Team Never Quit. You know how it is, man. I love you like a brother, dude. So I see you for what you are, not what you're capable of, man. Because I know you don't have any limits. So I can't say thank you enough for coming on here, man, and opening up to everybody. I hope you had a good time on here. You did exactly what we wanted to do, man. You laid it out. Just like it's played out your entire life, from nuts to bolts. I mean, if we had hours in the day, we could back it all the way up to what happened when we were all kids and everything. But I think seeing the man that you are,
again. We got to get him on again.
That's the beauty about this. Isn't a podcast. This is like me calling him on the phone.
Yeah,
I was talking about Morgan harasses his ass every day. I really don't, but when I do call, I do. I make a point to keep on. I'm like, hey, I got nothing going on, and I know you're not doing anything.
Well, David, I got to tell you, man, this first time I'm ever, talking to you on the phone and meeting you. And I tell you what, I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm proud to be a teammate of yours. Man, I just love hearing the stories that you had. And I think, the pride that you live with is an example for every single listener that we have on the show. So thank you for giving that to our listeners.
Hey, well, thanks a lot for having me, guys. And look forward to guys, seeing you guys soon. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get you back in the after action. So that's all for this episode.
Great job, brother. Bro.
Yeah. Marcus, we have had some absolutely insane people on this show so far.
How do you close that one out?
I don't even know.
Just say thanks.
Just be like, I like
thanks,
thank God. Yeah. Just go right to it. No, because I feel like we have to give some reverence to the effort that man makes on a daily routine. and a daily like his regiment, his concept, his search. I mean, man's search for meaning, that's no shit when it comes to David Goggins, you know.
Well, it goes to show you everybody's routine. And that's what I love about it when you ask that question, man, because they give that day-to-day routine. Like, I wake up in the morning, you know, I make the bed, get in the shower, that whole deal, because everybody has that part of it.
Well, I mean,
right? What he adds on to the normal part, the part of it, right? You and I get up every morning same way, probably go to the shit. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody has that same way deal. And then the added part to make him better than the guy, the next person. Right. The quest. Well, that journey, think about it, dude. There's literally there's no ending on his journey.
That's what the thing that just floored me.
So you and I were like, oh, you know, man, I kind of want to be a dad.
Yeah,
I got a house here, my tractor, my dog. My journey's over. Like right now, we talked about this. I live to sustain anything around me right now.
What you got?
Right.
I love to get on and do this. I love to have my children in my arms, right?
When you're running on a road that doesn't have an end, that means that there's no...
Well, it's the razor's edge between...
So look at it like that. He really has no boundaries that he can fail from because it's...
Right?
You got to run. You just run. I mean, there's not one of them deals where...
The mission literally never ends.
Right. Not a helicopter going to break down.
No.
Or anything like... Just put them shoes on and go to town. And if I run out of shoes, I got my... Until he dies.
That's it. He literally said that in that interview that he's going to do that until he dies.
When did he die?
And man, thank you so much. I mean, I'm stoked that we could bring, you know, when we talked about, all right, we got to get, you know, our own tribe on, people from the team Never Quit, you know. But
you know, park him in here sometimes and let him. Just go to work. You know.
Oh my God.
There's a reason why we keep him around, and I mean, you know. We just talked about one thing. He had a big old hole in his heart for most of this, man. They didn't even know it. Then he almost died from his thyroid, always jacking up. There's all kinds of stuff, man.
I mean, it's endless.
Yeah, right. And it's the funniest part because most people think when they get a physical injury that, oh, man.
I'm done.
I'm
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but David was like, you know, I'm just...
You got to look at it like a Terminator perspective where like the technology we have these days is, and the perfect example is nowadays in the teams. And I was joking about this on stage. I was like, you know, back in the day, man, when we got hit in the leg or the arm, you'd fight to keep it. Like, doc, don't take it. Give me 50 surgeries. I still got this piece of skin left. Hang that leg on. Now dudes are getting splinters and being like, take the leg. Take it and give me one of them below the knee jobbers with that fancy foot. And how badass are our guys? What do we have? 5? We got 5 guys with glass eyes, right? They got the trident and the reticle.
And they're just waiting for for it to be like activated as like a bionic eye.
They look so cool. I mean, it's, every team guy seems like, oh, that's badass. And it's horrible because your eye's been shot out of your damn head. While I was standing there, you know, that kind of deal, man. Right. But it's so cool, the technology and how sick our human, like with scars. When Wizard cut his hand, I was like, oh, it's a badass scar.
That's what he said to the doc.
I wanted to say that to Tough. I was like, Tough, bro, when they were putting you together, you should have been, you were like, yeah, I was ugly before, but there's something about when you got badasses who have badass scars, there's a reverence in that. You're so damn ugly. Oh my God, you're a badass, right? That's what my brother and I, every time we got face or skin damage, it was like, just let it be there. Let it be there. Let it be the scar. Give me the Josie Wales. Josie Wales has a badass scar.
What I loved about David Goggins is that his scar from childhood stayed with him. And it wasn't a deficiency. Like you're talking about, it wasn't a mutation. It wasn't any of that. You know what it was? It was the inspiration to climb into that madness, that hell of what he'd been through to push him to be who he is today. Yeah, that's insane.
Here's the rub. A lot of people take all that madness and it implodes them. Oh man, I was beat down as a kid. I was poor. Mom was on drugs. And that's why I'm a shitbag.
Yeah.
And then David Goggins lived all of that. I mean, the best part of him is his childhood. We should have talked about that.
We'll get him back.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And every one of those, that's the way my dad taught me. It was a test.
Right.
I ain't being hard on you. I'm testing you. And when you get that mentality in your, okay, he's not being hard on me. He's testing me. He's making me man.
Yeah.
Well, then why is it a problem?
Right.
If you look at it like a problem, it's going to be one.
And that's what he was saying.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where I mean, I probably didn't make it as poignant as he did because I can't. I don't have that.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I know it. That's why I'm here.
I hope
brother.
everybody realizes
That's
the relationship Rut and I have is not only fun, but it's a necessity for this to even work.
This podcast would not work otherwise.
You would turn it on if it was just me and they'd be like, "What the hell did he just say?" I'm more confused now than I ever was.
I wish I could erase what I just heard.
Yeah, dude, it's great.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, I tell you what, man, it was so awesome having him on, and I really think that our listeners took away a tremendous amount from his story, his perspective, and all that.
And how could you not, right? He was one of them guys we talk about just if you're standing next to him.
You get better.
I just learned something standing next. I learned how to stand.
Yeah.
Bottom line, if I was just standing next to a dude, you're like, Jesus, look at this dude. I love when have you seen Daddy's Home Part 2 with Wahlberg?
No.
Wahlberg's coming down this escalator and Will Ferrell's standing there with a sign, and every man and every woman in the airport turn around and look at Wahlberg come down this escalator because he's a badass. He's dressed all, his hair's on, the music's playing and stuff like that. That's kind of one of them Goggins
That's
deals.
a Goggins deal. You're like,
he needs to have a cape. You know what I mean?
Well, he talked about his superhero alter ego, Goggins, right?
Goggins, exactly.
Goggins.
Goggins
What happens when you're in the...
Yeah, you don't wear a cape. He wears running shoes.
He wears running shoes.
Goggins' superhero strength is speed, and his damn uniform is running shorts and shoes.
And his superpower is pain.
Pain, right? Right. That's what feeds his inner... Like, Superman is the sun, right?
Yeah.
Goggins is pain.
Yeah.
Dude.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I
love how you twisted that back over to my expertise of superheroes.
Well, I'm always going to set you up for success, brother. That's what I'm not.
Hey, and before I get hammered about, I mean, by all means, to the listeners, man, for my superhero fanatical fans like I am out there, if you start testing me on it, I don't know everything. I'm just a fan.
Yeah, but you're a big fan.
Well, I'm a big Spider-Man.
Well,
I'm actually a big everything.
I'm about ready.
I don't want to tell everybody how weird it is, okay?
We'll let him little piece
Did you tell him that I'm wearing Spider-Man pajamas right now?
I was waiting for you to do it. It's true. Oh my God. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, man.
The look on the Wizard's face the first time you got introduced to this is great.
It's epic. It's absolute. You can't make this up. So,
I mean, Jessica got full biddies on that one.
So there it is, David.
Yeah. So wrapping that up, man. We go all day, right?
All day.
I like to thank God for my abilities.
Hold on. I gotta say something Listen, if you're inspired and what you just heard, you're inspired by David's story, I want you to go to teamneverquit.com/podcast or tnqpodcast.com. It's the same place, takes you to the same place. And if you're inspired, I want you to write in and tell us your greatest never quit story. That's right, yours, or maybe your father's, maybe somebody you know, somebody you love. Write in that story, submit it on our site. We've got a space for it right there, right? Or if you want to take a video of yourself telling, and what's going to happen, the Team Never Quit team, Jess, is going to read through all of those stories. She's going to watch the videos, and she's going to pass them on to the Wizard, Marcus, or I, the good ones. If they're awesome, we're going to read them on the show here. If they're epic, Marcus, what happens?
Bringing you on the show.
Coming
out here, we're going to look in your eyes while you tell it.
You're going to look in your eyes while you tell it, so no BS, right? So please do that, all right? Also, while you're there, get to know what Team Never Quit is about, because that's what the real importance. It's our mission here to really inspire human beings to face adversity, to overcome obstacles, the normal obstacles of life, to where they can find what we hold true, what we hold dear, which is the never quit mindset, which is the never quit attitude, the never quit lifestyle, right? And that's what we're all about every single day. And I feel very blessed for that. I feel very blessed to have gone through what I've gone through, to experience, to be sitting here across my close friends, to be on this team now. So I want to give thanks, as we do at the end of every main show, is I want to say thank you to all my teammates. I want to say thank you first to David Goggins for coming on. I want to thank the Wizard. I want to thank Marcus, Jess. I want to thank all the members of the team. I want to thank my family, especially my wife, incredible wife, my 2 baby girls. And I want to thank God for helping teach me the never quit mindset. Marcus?
Absolutely. No, you wrapped it up perfect. And man, that was something. That was a
That was a big one. That's big.
I mean, you saw me. I hit the wall. I was so fired up for the last hour and a half that I crashed right over in this chair. Unbelievable. Yeah, no. Thank you, David, man. We love you, brother, and all good things coming to you. I thank God for giving me all of my abilities. Thank you to my friends for helping me discover them. Thank everybody out there for all my teammates for the life that they've given me and the great time that we've had up to this very day, and everybody out there who makes this possible. So thank you for the opportunity to do this.
Absolutely. That's all I got, Marcus. I'm out.
Never quit.